For decades, you could search every public map printed by the United States government, and you would never find it. To military officials and federal agencies, the dry lake bed surrounded by the mountains of southern Nevada was simply empty desert. The official stance was absolute. There was nothing there. Yet anyone who actually drove out into that desert found a very different reality. Long before you reached the perimeter, you were met with surveillance cameras, armed security, and stacked signs explicitly authorizing the use of deadly force against trespassers. Behind those warnings, an entire anonymous workforce operated in plain sight. Every Monday morning, thousands of employees boarded unmarked airplanes in Las Vegas, commonly known as Janet flights, and vanished into the desert. They returned at the end of the week, legally bound to silence, never explaining to their families where they had been or what they had done. The cracks in that silence started in the sky. Commercial airline pilots flying their long-haul routes began reporting strange metallic aircraft cruising at altitudes that defied known aerodynamics. Faced with these reports, the government maintained its total denial. By refusing to offer even a basic explanation for the heavily guarded perimeter or the impossible objects in the sky, they inadvertently allowed a military installation to mutate into a global obsession. To understand why the government chose that silence, we have to look at the terror of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a standoff, each completely convinced the other was preparing for an imminent, devastating strike. American intelligence desperately needed accurate information about Soviet military capabilities, but they had a massive vulnerability. Any conventional reconnaissance plane they sent over Soviet territory risked being detected by radar and blown out of the sky before it could gather a single photograph. This animated diagram illustrates the physical problem the CIA had to solve. You can see the maximum altitude ceiling of a standard Soviet anti-air missile reaching its peak. To survive, the CIA needed an aircraft capable of cruising continuously in the stratosphere, operating entirely out of reach of enemy defenses. But reaching that altitude was useless if the plane couldn't see anything. The aircraft had to carry a specialized camera payload heavy enough to shoot high-resolution photographs of missile silos hundreds of miles below, capturing a massive surface area in extreme freezing conditions. Engineering an aircraft that could survive those conditions required complete, impenetrable secrecy. The CIA needed a laboratory totally isolated from civilian traffic and human oversight to build it. They found their laboratory at Groom Lake. Tucked deeply inside the vast Nevada test site, it was surrounded by rugged mountains and miles of desolate landscape. It was harsh, barren, and completely cut off from the outside world. Under the designation Project Aquatone, this remote runway became the testing ground for the U-2 reconnaissance plane. With its unusually long wingspan and stark black silhouette, it was designed to fly higher than any operational aircraft in history. The machine was the brainchild of aerospace engineer Clarence Kelly Johnson, who led Lockheed's legendary Skunk Works division to achieve these impossible flight metrics. To protect Johnson's work from Soviet intelligence, the CIA enforced brutal security protocols at Groom Lake. Employees operated under strict code names. Once they left the base, conversations about their work ended immediately, completely separating their professional reality from their families. This extreme psychological siloing worked perfectly to keep Soviet spies in the dark, but it also locked out the American public. The workers couldn't explain what they were doing, leaving local residents to draw their own conclusions from the strange things they saw in the desert. When you test aircraft at altitudes commercial aviation hasn't reached yet, side effects happen. Airline pilots cruising at 20,000 feet suddenly noticed bright flashes far above them, catching the sun in ways that defied their understanding of flight. Civilians on the ground reported seeing bright metallic objects cutting across the sky, glowing against the twilight and moving at impossible speeds. Local newspapers rapidly collected these sightings, feeding them to military investigators. The CIA found themselves in a trap. They knew exactly what people were reporting: classified U-2 test flights catching the reflection of the setting sun. But revealing America's most sensitive intelligence program to correct the record was too dangerous. They let the public believe in extraterrestrial encounters rather than admit the truth. And the technology only became stranger. Groom Lake soon tested the Lockheed A-12 ox cart. It was a reconnaissance plane wrapped in a reflective titanium skin, capable of tearing through the sky at Mach 3. To anyone who accidentally caught a glimpse of it, the A-12 looked like something from another world entirely. By refusing to clarify any of these sightings, the government effectively surrendered the narrative. The silence created a vacuum, and pop culture eagerly filled it. Science fiction slowly overwrote the factual history of the base, turning classified engineering into a mythology of alien spacecraft. The official silence lasted until 2013. Following a Freedom of Information Act request, the CIA released previously classified documents that finally acknowledged the facility known as Area 51. The government openly admitted that the secret base and its decades of covert aviation testing were completely real. But the declassified files only detailed the U-2 and A-12 programs. They laid out the timelines, the engineering hurdles, and the espionage goals. They contained absolutely zero mention of recovered extraterrestrial technology, of alien bodies, or reverse engineering programs. This admission answered one question while creating a much larger one. The United States government successfully hid a sprawling military facility from the public for 6 decades. If they could keep a secret that massive for that long, what else could they still be hiding? That question was weaponized by one man, Bob Lazar. He claimed he worked at a specialized facility right next to Groom Lake. According to Lazar, his job wasn't building spy planes. His job was reverse engineering propulsion systems that had not been built by human hands. His story tore through the public consciousness, completely dividing investigators and scientists. As we dig into his claims, we have to determine whether Bob Lazar exposed the most closely guarded secret in human history, or if he is simply the ultimate byproduct of the government's own accidental mythology.